Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
Can you believe we are already 3/4 of the way through 2024 with only 3 months to go till the end of the year?
And with that in mind, it's time for us to go back and review the goals that we set ourselves way back in January. So as Richard said, can you believe we are already 9 months into 2024 and Christmas is on its way?
We are firm believers in goals and goal setting because we think it's a really good way to hold ourselves to account to make sure that we get the very best out of our early retired life. We've spent most of our careers working towards goals probably for other people, so in our early retired life it's really important that we devote our energies to developing ourselves. So before we get into the nitty-gritty of this video, what we really don't want you to think is that we're completely and utterly obsessed by these goals and these micro goals and managing things down to the smallest detail, because it's really not like that. We do have an overall aim of early retirement to just live the most fulfilled life that we possibly can, and in some ways that's our sort of North Star. It's the way we guide ourselves through life, but it's a little bit out there and it's a little bit in the atmosphere. So what we want to do then is we break it down into 4 main areas of our lives. So we set ourselves some goals to do with our career, almost like our career as early retired people, our relationships, our health, and our personal development. And we set ourselves annual goals, and in order to keep ourselves accountable and to just keep reminding ourselves throughout the year as to whether we're on it or not, we do this quarterly review, and the ultimate account is sharing how well we're doing or not with you on camera. So let's get on with the review.
As Richard said earlier, we don't actually have a career. We see us being early retired as our new career. And the biggest part of that, we called ourselves Early Retirement Wanderlust for a reason, is because we really want to get out there and do lots of travel. So in this quarter, we came back from our big European road trip at the beginning of July. But the big trip for this quarter is that we went to the Shetland Islands and the Orkney Islands. And wow, they were just fantastic. We really didn't know what to expect from that. We went prepared for a full-on winter hiking experience. Even though it was in the middle of August, the average temperature was supposed to be around 13 degrees and very wet. We got nearly 20 degrees and really sunny days most of the time. So we just had the most wonderful time finding out about a new place, and actually I think we found another happy place that we'll definitely want to return to. So that was fantastic.
But then contrasted with that, and also compared with that, we had just got back from the most amazing family time in Florida.
Yeah, we did. There were 12 of us all together. There was all of our direct family, our children and their partners, my mum, my sister and her family, and her mother-in-law. So that, yeah, we just indulged ourselves, had a really good holiday rather than just travelling, spent 2 weeks of really good quality time with all the people that we love. It was amazing.
Yeah, and I've talked a lot in my Wellbeing Thursday slots about Bill Perkins' work, Die with Zero, and he talks about memory dividends and the fact that we invested in that holiday to make sure that all of us as a family had memory dividends from that. And yeah, it was just a wonderful experience going back to a place that we love, but then tainted with like real sadness this week.
Oh gosh, yeah. We only arrived back actually from Florida last Sunday, a week ago today. And in the week, we spotted that the hurricane was developing, and actually the island that we were staying on is pretty decimated. Piers that we walked along no longer exist. A lot of the accommodation's been destroyed by water. Gosh, it's been quite emotional watching how that's developed, because it's a place that we've been to so many times and we absolutely adore. So fingers crossed that that can get on with the process of rebuilding itself quite quickly.
But yeah, we're all back safe, and we've got all those happy memories, and it was just a wonderful experience. And we're hoping to have a wonderful experience in this next quarter when we head off to Thailand, but it's not without a little bit of apprehension.
So in our annual goal setting back in January, I said that I quite fancied visiting a new continent that we've never been to before. So we are off to Thailand. We've got 7 weeks booked before Christmas. I am probably, contrary to what you will think, quite a nervous traveller. So this is really putting me on the edge of my comfort zone, but getting really excited. We're watching lots of YouTube clips, we're doing lots of research. We go in a few weeks' time and we're just about getting to the point where we know what we might be wanting to do. And thank you so much. We put out a bit of a plea earlier in the week, asking people for ideas and places that they would recommend. And we've had loads of things that we've been looking at, especially Angela and Wayne, who we've been watching your YouTube clips of when you went to Thailand, and there's been lots of good advice on there as well.
So another thing that's definitely put us right on the edge of our comfort zone is this. As we've said many, many times before, it's not easy and it's something that we've had to get used to, but our YouTube channel, and that has been one of our big goals for this year, and we're just so pleased with how it's growing.
Gosh, yeah, when we started out the year, I think we probably only had a couple of thousand subscribers. It was still a very small channel, and it's really grown this year beyond anything that we thought it would. But that almost makes us even more nervous because now there's so many people that watch us and, I don't know, maybe have expectations, but you're a wonderful audience of subscribers, and we've loved the community that we've grown around that.
Yeah, we really do feel that in our early retirement, we've almost got to know so many people through the comments and the regular email correspondence we have with people. And we absolutely love that because it was one of our concerns about early retirement, that we perhaps feel a little bit isolated when we gave up work. But the YouTube channel, yeah, it's teaching us new things, and we've got new things to learn every single day, and we're trying to keep doing that. But yeah, we absolutely love it.
Yeah, and one of the things we do enjoy at the moment still is we sit down most nights and just both go through the comments and respond to the comments together. And it's nice reflecting on some of the things that people share with us.
One of the things that we were targeting for last quarter was to just try and be a little bit more relaxed on camera, and we're trying to do this in as fewer takes as possible and trying to be as natural as possible. And we are absolutely targeting our Thailand trip as a way of taking a more sort of impromptu vloggy approach, because it's not something that comes really natural to us, is it?
Yeah, I'm not great at talking in public. I get really shy, so I won't talk in front of the camera. But I don't know, in a different country where people are talking a different language, maybe we'll have a go at it.
One of our other priorities in early retirement is that we've got to keep the budget on track, and we have worked really hard this year to make sure that we have a structure in place to review our spending and seeing how the budget's going.
Yeah, Richard makes me sit down on the last day of every month and get all the banking details up so that we can go through and keep a detailed record of everything that we've spent. And it's actually really good. It's been a way of us keeping ourselves really accountable to make sure that we don't just blow our budget. So yeah, we still do the cash is king. We still do the £200 a week as much as we can, where we just take cash out, and that's to cover all of the things that we need week by week. And yeah, we're doing pretty well with that budget. But just sitting down and recording everything does keep us really accountable, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think the nature of just knowing where you're at, because sometimes I think spending can get a little bit out of control, and if you have 2 or 3 months in that routine, then you suddenly, what's the phrase, up the creek without a paddle or something like that. But at least we know now. So if we've had a bit of an extravagant month, then we know we need to pull it back a little bit. And there's always those unexpected expenses that come through, as they always do in life, but at least we know about it now, and it seems to be working for us.
Yeah, and with our travel, we are, particularly when we're out and about in the van, I think we've pretty much nailed it. We've got pretty good at keeping there or thereabouts with our budget.
The ridiculous thing is it's actually easier to keep on budget when you're living in the van than it is when you're at home, which how on earth does that work? Now, linked with our budget, we've had a new challenge this year, and that's to do with the income that we receive. And to be honest, we were quite surprised to receive from YouTube and some of our magazine writing.
And because we don't get a pension at the moment, we don't have any other income coming in, we'd not quite put two and two together that you do still need to fill a tax form in, even though you are not earning anywhere near your tax allowance. And we've had such a battle with the tax office.
The issue is that we create together. So we write together, the YouTube is a shared project, and we are in partnership because we're married, but try to get that through on a self-assessment form. You have just not got a chance. So we've had to set up a formal partnership between us, and we have to do a self-assessment form, tax form, to declare our earnings from last year, our minuscule earnings, but we want the systems to be right for, further down the line when we start getting our pension. But what a pain in the backside it actually is. So we thought that we could go online and we thought that we could register our partnership.
And we started that process in April, as soon as the tax year started, and we panicked a bit when someone said, you do know that even if you don't have any income coming in, and actually what we have had come in is less than 1,000 each, that you have to fill in a tax form because they need to know where you are. They'll start investigating you. So we're like, okay, we started in April, hit a brick wall, couldn't fill the forms in, spent about, at least 8 hours on the phone to the tax office. That's another rant. We thought we'd filled the forms in. We thought we'd done what we needed to do. And then we went away on our travels to Europe. When we came back, nothing had arrived.
And then we had another round of telephone conversations and were given mixed messages. We thought the answer was that we could fulfill our tax requirements online. So there were various stages of security to go through, one of which was involving them posting us a code, which just seems archaic. And this week we thought we were there, ready to press the button, and partnerships cannot file their tax returns online unless you do it through a professional software package. So we are now in the process, before the end of the month, of having to print off the tax forms to send off our declaration of earnings from YouTube and our writing to the taxman, so that we can then divide it off. We can then do a self-assessment form each online. You can tell we're getting a little bit tired of this, and we have to do that by the end of the year, all to show that we owe no tax at all.
Yeah. Can you tell we're a little bit?
We are entirely positive people, but at times I came off phone conversations feeling like I could cry because no one could give us an answer and no one would take our calls. But anyway, rant over. Okay, moving on to happier things. The last stumbling block we had in our career was to do with the renovations that we did at home. And you'll know in the past that we sold our family home in Cheshire and we bought a wreck of a cottage in the Dales, and we've done it up. And we are just so proud and so happy here. But the garden has remained a stumbling block for us.
Yes, it was in our target for this year that we would spend some time getting the garden remodelled and made to look really nice. But we have not done any of that. We've kept it tidy. We've kept it weed-free. It looks nice as it is. But I think for now we're going to put it on hold.
Yeah, in quarter one, quarter two, it was an abject failure. Quarter three, it's an abject failure. I was sat down this morning thinking, why is it so bad that we just can't get around to it? And I came to the conclusion, we don't really care about it enough. And that's fine, because we're not here. We are travelling so much. It's not a real issue. And then I started thinking, well, why do we want the garden to be completely redesigned and beautiful? And is it sort of external pressures? Because at the moment, it doesn't really fit with our lifestyle. So we've made that decision today that we are going to put the garden project on hold, apart from keeping it tidy and apart from installing some wood sheds that we need for our log burner. So that's going to be about it.
Yeah, and maybe a garden shed so that we can empty some of the stuff that's in our little unit out there. So the second area that we set our goals is to do with relationships, and they are really important to us because we've early retired. We are not in that day-to-day work environment where we see lots of people all of the time. We have got a lot more time to see our friends and our family particularly, and we've had an absolutely fantastic quarter of family time, actually. We've had 2 really big family get-togethers. We've had Luke's engagement party where we had all of our extended family there as well. That was just perfect. And then we've had my birthday where we went back down to Cheshire and had another big family weekend. So we've had a lot of time together, but even better than that is the fact that we had the most idyllic 2 weeks family holiday in Florida where there was all 12 of us that we talked about earlier.
Regular viewers of the channel will know that my mum has dementia, so one of our big aims is to make sure that mum is fully supported through that. And over the course of the year, she is really settled in her care home, but one of the things that we're having to do on her behalf is to deal with some repairs and some insurance claims to do with her house before we sell that for her care costs. And that is just something that's moving along as smoothly as it could possibly move along. There's not really much that we can do to hurry that, but just to make sure that we're responsive and make sure that things are happening in due time and due process. And, you know, that is a big priority for me over the course of this year. It is still ticking along. We're now at the repair stage. I don't want to bore you with the details of it, but, you know, if we could get to the stage where in the spring we can put the house on the market, then that will be a huge step forward in terms of us being able to support mum.
The other thing that we have started doing with your mum is when we are away, ringing her. Because when we first used to go away for more extended periods of time, you did try ringing your mum, but she used to get quite upset by that, didn't she?
She did, and she used to get a little bit confused, whereas she's much more settled now. And I'm not entirely sure. I think it's probably more for my well-being that I make the calls, because I know that mum is really well cared for. And we had this wonderful call when we were up in the Shetlands, and they put mum on the phone, and mum really just sort of mugged me off because it was music therapy afternoon. And I sort of asked her how she was getting on, and she told me that she got a set of maracas in her hand and that it was music therapy afternoon, and she checked whether I was okay. And then we just had a whole period of awkward silences, and then my mum sort of said bye and went back to her music therapy, which in a way, yeah, I took a lot of comfort out of that. Yeah. It was funny, but it was also lovely that mum is fully engaged in the community of home. So, yeah.
It's nice. We know that she is happy. We know that she has got things that she'd rather do than talk to us, because she does like talking on the phone. And it is lovely. It's nice that we can ring every 2 or 3 days. And she's genuinely interested in that moment of what we're doing.
As Jackie said, in theory, in early retirement, we've got so much more time for family and friends, but sometimes things do fall a little bit by the wayside because we are making that decision to travel so much, and we know one of our priorities is to meet up face to face with our friends, and that best will in the world, particularly in the last quarter, hasn't happened massively because we've been away and travelling so much, and we've had so many things on with family as well, so it is something that we are going to target.
Yeah, we've got, when we get back, we'll have hopefully a good month over Christmas where we can have a really good catch up with people. And finally, we do really need to mention the amazing community that we feel like we belong to now as part of Early Retirement Wanderlust. We do really look forward to engaging with people. Like we said earlier, we love reading through all of your different comments. We were so grateful when we put out a bit of a plea a few days ago of advice for Thailand, and people did come out and support us and give us lots of ideas of things to do. And it's all part of that community that we've really nurtured and developed, and hopefully we'll just keep growing that.
The third area of goal setting that is really important to us is our health, because we want to have the most fulfilled and we want to have the most extended retired period. So the way we do that is we've obviously got to look after our health. And I think we've talked before on the channel about when we were working, we felt that our health was pretty much a bolt-on to what we did at work. Whereas now what we do in terms of looking after our health is front and centre, and it's a priority for what we do every single day, and we do lead very active lives.
Yeah, we do. When we are out and about in the campervan, we are very active. We will go hiking and do a lot of walking. When we're back at home, we still continue that. Today we've been out on a 10k hike just in the local area, just because it was sunny and dry and it was a nice day to get out.
So in terms of looking after our endurance and our cardiovascular health, I think we're pretty ahead of the curve on that one. But one of the things that we felt at the start of the year that we needed to work on a little bit was our strength, and for me, my mobility, because I am absolutely as stiff as a board. So I try and build in my daily routine some stretching and also some strength work, and that comes and goes. To be honest, I find it easier to do it when I'm at home than when I'm on the road, but it's something that I found really difficult to keep sort of consistent.
I had said that I was going to have a go at doing yoga, and I did go through little periods where I would do a week of it. Found it really hard right from the beginning because we were skiing for 7 weeks and there's just no room in the van. And when we're on the road, I found that really hard. But instead, I have developed my own little challenges and I drag Richard along in it. So when we got back from the Shetlands, for example, in this quarter, I developed the 50-50-50 challenge where we had 3 weeks. I wanted to get beach fit, body fit, and actually do a little bit of more strength type work. So we did for 3 weeks 50 sit-ups, 50 push-ups and 50 air squats, and the difference that that made was amazing. So much so that we've got 4 weeks now until we go away to Thailand, and we are continuing that and maybe just changing it up a little bit. So we're going to add some more exercises in there, still do 50-50-50, but just maybe have a choice of 3 different exercises each day to do that.
Yeah, and if you blend that with then a little bit of clean living, so we by no means have the cleanest diet, but over the course of these little mini challenges, we try to make sure that we cut out processed food. We try to make sure that certainly our bread intake goes down a little bit, and we tend to moderate our alcohol consumption. Certainly prior to going to Florida, we did that because we knew that we were going to be subjected to the most unbelievable American style diets and portion sizes, and also we were away with family that tend to drink, so we knew that our body systems were going to get battered. And going out to Thailand, we're going to try and live a simple life out there, but it doesn't do any harm just to have a set window of focus of just cleaning things up a little bit, and we quite enjoy that.
Yeah, I think actually over the year, I've noticed it's got easier. I think we are definitely eating much better. We're certainly drinking a lot less in general. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty well on that one. I think we're nailing it. For several years now, I have set myself the Everest challenge. If you've never come across it before, it was originally a challenge. Could you climb the equivalent of Mount Everest in a year? We do so much hiking that I set that originally at 3 Everests, and I've done that for probably the last 3 or 4 years. The last 2 years, I've tried to go for 4 Everests. Last year we missed it, probably only by about 2,000 metres. So that was pretty good going. And this year we are still on track. I've done the equivalent of about 3.5 Mount Everests, and we've got 3 months left. My only concern is I'm not actually sure how hilly or how much hiking we will get done in Thailand, but we have got a Lake District trip before we go to do some more Wainwrights, so I should get some elevation there. And tied in with that, I have for years tried to make sure that I walk 10,000 steps a day, or certainly over the month that it averages out at 300,000 steps a month. Last year was a definite up and down. Some months I'd be on 400,000 steps, some months we were only on 200,000 steps, some of it to do with the weather, some of it to do with where and how we were travelling. This year I've made a conscious effort to really try and make sure I get those 300,000 steps in. And actually, apart from February where we had really bad weather and we were doing a lot of travelling between ski resort, we drove back from skiing twice. Yeah, we're really smashing it.
And our final area of goal setting is to do with personal development, and it'll probably come as no surprise as 2 ex-teachers that we really believe in the importance of lifelong learning and trying to do something new every day or every week to try and improve ourselves. And for me, it was something really, really simple. I'm a notoriously poor reader, and I've never really focused on my reading, and I've never really enjoyed reading for pleasure. So over the course of this year and over the course of this quarter, I really got stuck into some historical fiction that I absolutely love. I can't seem to get away from historical fiction, but I am moving on to different time phases. You'll be glad to know that I am now reading about the 100 Years' War. But that moment, every day that I sit down and do a little bit of reading for pleasure, has brought brought me such joy and is making me a better person, and I'm really enjoying it at the same time.
Something I've added in for myself as the years progressed, actually, and I mentioned this earlier, is that I have learned how to use iMovie and do a little bit more research on how to create digital content. And we've set up a TikTok account. Our niece Ellie and my sister kept saying that we really should have a TikTok account. It's good fun. They're just short clips of videos. And actually, I've taken that on, not particularly to grow the TikTok account, but actually it's given me that little bit of focus to learn how to develop small movies. And I'm actually having quite a lot of fun just working out how to add music and do the different reels. I'm not very consistent at doing it at the moment, but yeah, I am enjoying that new challenge of learning something different that I didn't know how to do before.
And talking of good fun, and it's a little bit nerdy, but at the start of the year, I got myself sucked into a YouTube rabbit hole of sketching architectural buildings. Of course they're architectural because they're buildings. But yeah, sketching buildings. And I'm really enjoying that. I'm finding it a little bit difficult to do it on a weekly basis because the tutorials that I'm following online are a little bit samey. So I think what I need to do is I need to branch out a little bit and use some of my own photographic images that I've got of buildings, and then just spend a little bit of time and trust myself to actually draw in my sketchbook. But a bit like me, I only like my drawings to be good, and I'm a bit hypercritical of it, so I just need to get over myself, really.
He's being quite modest because actually his drawings that he's been doing are pretty fantastic.
But no one gets to see them.
No one, not even me. He did leave his book out the other day and I had a bit of a flick through. They're wonderful. I'm really impressed with them.
Yeah, but it's my mantle to bear, shall we say.
And one of the final things that we've put in as a challenge at the beginning of the year as part of our personal development is that we wanted to do the Yorkshire Dales 3 Peaks. We did do it 5 years ago when we were younger, possibly a bit fitter. Our son Luke and his partner Charlotte wanted to do it, so we'd all been working towards that goal, and we got it done at the end of August.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great family experience. It was really challenging. It always is. It's 24 miles, it's 3 big peaks, and it hurts. I think whatever level of fitness you're at and whatever speed you do it at, it still hurts.
Yeah.
But it was good. Good to get through it.
Yeah, we're 53 each, and we managed to get round, and I think we were fitter than Luke and Charlotte. I think we found it a bit easier than them, but we have had, obviously, being early retired a lot longer to get out and about and get hiking where they've been working.
So that's it. You will probably tell by watching this video that the main reason we're doing this is to absolutely hold ourselves to account in terms of doing stuff, making sure that we are hitting our milestones, and just knowing that this quarterly review and this quarterly review video will come around.
And actually it just makes us think, what did we set out at the beginning of the year that we wanted to achieve? And it does make us just think about what we've actually done over the year.
So we hope you found it of use. Coming along with our quarterly review, we do find that doing this every 3 months is really useful, because if we didn't review it until the end of December, like a lot of people review their annual targets, it's too late to do anything about it, and it's just a good way of measuring to see how well you're going over the course of the year. And
it actually does make us realise how much we actually have done, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a really positive, it's a feel-good thing. It's not something that we beat ourselves up about. It's actually, and I think it's human nature, we always focus on what we haven't done as opposed to what we have done. So yeah, it's a good way of feeling good. So we'd actively encourage you to adopt a similar thing, even if it's just sitting down with a glass of wine, seeing where you're at as a couple. So that's it from us. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.